All right, I see it, Daryl.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. Okay, so I'll get started. Yeah, thanks everyone in attendance for joining today's information open house meeting for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment for 3399 North Shore Drive. Matt, did you want to say some words in regard to the application or run through a brief presentation?
Yeah, I've prepared a brief presentation just to provide some background and details of the application. So if you don't mind, I'll share my screen. Can everybody see that all right? Daryl?
Yeah, sorry, Matt. Yep, it's up there.
Great. So thanks everybody for coming. My name is Matt Kernahan. I'm a planning manager at Upper Canada Consultants. We're a consulting firm based out of St. Catharines. I represent the owners of this property, Paul and Susanna Phillip, along with Sider Brother Builders, and I've made an application on their behalf for a zoning bylaw amendment, as well as some severances that will be considered at a later date by the Committee of Adjustment. So this slide just provides some context on the subject property. As most of you probably know, by virtue of living in the area, property is located on the south side of North Shore Drive. This is a residential area where there is almost exclusively single detached dwellings, many of which are oriented towards the lake. The site is currently a very large site at over 4,000 square meters. The Ridgeway Thunder Bay secondary plan designates it for low density residential uses. And the bylaw currently zones the majority of the property as waterfront residential, with the shoreline being zoned hazard. So the purpose of the application is to facilitate the creation of two new building lots. This slide here shows the site plan for the property. It shows both the things which exist on the property and the lot lines which the property owners wish to create. As you're probably aware, there's currently a large two-story single detached dwelling located in the middle of the property. There's a two-story garage located very close to the street. That garage also contains a dwelling unit. And then there's some amenities associated with the existing single detached dwelling, including a tennis court and a pool and a pool house, as well as a smaller shed up in the northeast corner of the site. As I said, the purpose of the application is to create two new building lots. One of those building lots is shown as part 3 on the right-hand side of the screen. The intention there is to maintain the existing pool and accessory structure while a new single detached dwelling is built for Paul and Susanna Phillip on this property. The second part of the development application has to do with what's shown as part 1 on the left-hand side of my screen. And the owners intend to create a new lot in that location where a future single detached dwelling will also be built. The exact design of that single detached dwelling hasn't yet been finalized, as the lot hasn't been sold, but I'm about to show you a slide that shows conceptually what it might look like and how it might fit on the property. So those red lines shown on either side of part 2 are the new proposed lot lines. The intention is that the existing dwelling and two-story garage on part 2 will remain and will be sold to a future owner. The tennis court and some of the concrete walk will be removed so that there are no amenities crossing proposed property lines. So, all in all, the intention is that this be a continuation of what development currently exists along the south side of North Shore, and that there will be some new single detached dwellings that will be oriented to the lake and resemble what currently exists in the neighborhood. One other thing I should mention is that, as many of you probably know, there is a 3 meter or 10-foot wide access to the waterfront that runs along the east side of the property. And as part of this application, the town has asked that a portion of the lot shown as part 3 be dedicated as parkland to improve and widen this access to the waterfront, and the owners are agreeable to that. So this slide just shows what a dwelling on part 1 might look like. And this slide provides some of the nitty-gritty details of the zoning bylaw amendments. So for parts 1, 2, and 3, which are proposed to be the future lots, the zoning is proposed to change from the existing waterfront residential to a number of different site-specific waterfront residential zonings that'll facilitate the development as I showed it on the previous slide. There are site-specific provisions related to setback from the 1 in 100 year flood line along the lake for all of the lots. And there, for part 2, where the existing dwelling is, there's proposed site-specific regulations to permit the continued use of the property as it is. As well as on part 3, there's a site-specific regulation that needs to be implemented that will permit the existing pool and accessory structure to remain in its place while the new single detached dwelling is constructed, because currently the town zoning bylaw doesn't allow those things to exist on a new lot until such time as a dwelling is constructed, and that's why we have to ask for that site-specific provision. Lastly, part 4 is currently a hazard zone. It's a very small strip of land located below the shore protection. The intention is that that will continue to be zoned as hazard. So that's really all I have for you. Just, to summarize, the intention here is a zoning amendment to create 2 new lots and allow the existing residential dwelling and its accessory structure to remain in its place. To the benefit of the town, there will be a strip of land dedicated to them as parkland that will become part of the access to the lakeshore along the east side of this property. And in the future, following council's consideration of this zoning amendment, applications to actually create those lots will be made, and the public will have an opportunity to weigh in on that process. As Daryl may or may not tell you, this is sort of one of the first steps. It's the first public facing step in the rezoning and land division process. There will be a meeting at council on September 13th where similar presentations will be made to council, and the public will have the opportunity to speak virtually at that venue. And then at some time following that, council will make a decision on this zoning application. So that concludes the presentation that I have for you this evening. And I suppose I'll hand it over to Daryl to facilitate bringing people into the meeting to provide feedback and questions.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, that was pretty comprehensive. I'm not sure if I'm going to run through my whole presentation because it would just pretty much retread a lot of what you said. Although if we start getting real detailed questions, I do have some illustrations I could pull up that show where the site-specific zoning provisions are being implemented and whatnot. So I think I will start bringing people in for questions or comments. So Carla or Lewis, if you want to raise your digital hand, I'll promote you as a panelist, and then we'll bring you on into the meeting, and then feel free to submit comments or ask us any questions you may have. So to do that, on the very bottom of your screen towards the right, there's a raise hand button. That'll show up on my screen, and then I'll know to bring you in if you wish to speak directly to Matt or I. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands, Matt, but I think I'll bring on the first person in the attendee area, Carla, just to see if she has any comments or questions of us. So Carla, I'm going to promote you to a panelist. You should have a prompt appear, yes or no. If you do wish to speak, click yes, and we'll bring you on. Hi there, Carla. We've brought you into the meeting. If you wish to unmute yourself, there's a button at the far left that will allow you to speak if you wish to do so. Okay, I'll try. Lewis, I'll bring you in next. Sorry, Matt, I'm just getting messaged by Carla, so I'm going to respond to that real quick.
No problem. I saw it as well.
Okay.
I understand the busy time at dinner.
Hello. Okay.
Hi, Lewis. We can hear you. Did you have any questions for Matt or myself?
Yes. Yeah, just a couple of questions there. Just wondering, I guess on the part two there, the existing garage there. Just wondering, is it encroaching onto the city property, or on the sketch it shows the one corner encroaching in?
Matt, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe it has a 0 meter setback, so it's right on the property line, but it's not actually encroaching into the town's road allowance.
Okay. All right. So just on the lot line. Okay. And then also the shed there in the northeast corner. I know there's no mention of if it's being removed or if that's staying also. They know.
Yeah, that'll be removed. It
Okay.
It is located in an area where a part of it is in the portion of the lot that's going to be dedicated to the town, so it will need to be removed.
Okay. 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 So then that alleyway would be wider, because I guess it's already 10 feet existing right now. It'll be
Right. So it'll be widened by about just over 5 feet, maybe closer
Okay.
to
15. Okay. All right. Okay. And then yeah, I was just wondering about that lot there. I know it's quite small there. Do you think the town's in favor of something? Because I know it's quite a bit reduction from the R1 zoning. We're looking at what,
So
39.
it is a waterfront residential zoning. It's about double the size that it needs to be, but it has a smaller frontage than is typical that is required by the waterfront residential zoning. But it is if you look up and down North Shore, it's probably easier to notice it when you look at the town's Geopedia mapping or the region's Niagara Navigator. There are a number of lots along the street which are very similar in size and dimension to it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think that's basically all the questions I've got for now.
Yeah, you have my email, Lewis. So if you have any more, feel free to send in any questions or comments you may have. As Matt mentioned, the formal public meeting will be taking place on September 13th.
Okay.
So you have an opportunity to join that meeting and make comments or at that meeting as well. Council will be in attendance at that meeting. So that's the formal meeting mandated under the Planning Act.
Okay. Okay. That's the Severance Council or the actual Town Council?
Yeah, no, this would be Town Council. So as Matt mentioned earlier, the approval for the zoning bylaw amendment is required first prior to them proceeding on to the severance phase. In that the severance is subject to approval by the town's committee of adjustment, but zoning bylaw amendments are subject to approval by Town Council.
Okay. All right. Okay. That should be good. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Lewis. Yeah, I'm gonna put you back as an attendee. If you have any further questions, I will keep this meeting open until 6, so just in case some people join late. And then, feel free to stick around or leave. It's up to you.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Okay,
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, Matt, I think Carla may join later and ask some questions. As I mentioned, I'm going to keep the meeting open till 6, just to see in case if there's any late arrivals. It's up to you if you want to stick around. I'll be here either way, monitoring the meeting until 6 p.m. It's up to you if you want to stay or if you want to head out, that's fine too.
Well, I appreciate that. I certainly have my share of late nights, and I guess I'm wondering, has anybody registered who hasn't attended yet?
Who has to join the meeting?
Yeah, I guess do you take people's registration in advance, or is it just that they join in?
Yeah, for these, it's just as they join in. We don't require them to register. We did have a gentleman who was in here for a time. His name was, just bear with me here. Jason, but he dropped out. So I don't know if he just heard what he wanted to hear or if he intends to join later or not. I'm not too sure. He could be watching the live stream on YouTube. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm satisfied to hand it over to you then if that's a normal process that you would go through. I don't want to do anything which is out of the ordinary, but I certainly don't want to sit here until 6 o'clock if you don't think it's necessary. So
fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to leave, that's fine. Before you go, did you have any questions of me where we are in the process or anything? I know you're well familiar, but
yeah, I guess just where are we in terms of receiving agency comments? What's the deadline for that? Have you received much?
Yeah, we have received some comments. I'll have to confirm the deadline. I believe it's this week. So we should have all of the comments by the end of the week. I think the only the major comments we're really waiting on are from the Niagara Peninsula Conservation Authority.
Okay.
They haven't, as of yet, provided any further comments beyond what they provided in the pre-consultation meeting.
Okay. All right. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind just passing anything you think would be significant along. If things remain consistent with what I heard at the pre-consultation meeting, I'm not too troubled by it, but I just, would appreciate if anything comes up to know about it before the public meeting on the 13th.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate your time. Appreciate everybody else's time. If there's anything that comes up where somebody would like to be in contact with me, Daryl, please feel free to give them my contact information. I don't mind corresponding directly with people either. So,
Okay.
Yeah, appreciate your time. I'll sign off. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Pat.
Okay, take care.
Hey, Carlo and Lewis, I'm just going to cycle through the staff presentation just in case we have any late attendees. And Carla, if you want to join at a later point so we, chat directly, feel free. I will be monitoring the attendee area. So either raise your hand or send me a message in the chat and then I'll bring you on board. And if you have any questions, again, let me know. just to reach out to anybody who may be watching this on YouTube. This meeting, information open house meeting, will be held open until 6 p.m. So if anybody wants to join and ask any questions of staff, feel free to do so. I will monitor the attendee area. And until I see anybody joining in, I will cycle through the staff presentation. Thank you. Hello to anyone who may be watching on YouTube. The information open house for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment on 3399 North Shore Drive is still open and will remain open for another 15 minutes. So if there's anybody watching the live stream and they'd like to attend the meeting and ask any questions of myself, staff here at the town, feel free to do so. So if you want to head to the town's website, which is forterie.ca/pages/current public notices, there should be a link on there called zoning amendment 3399 North Shore Drive. You can see it there on the screen share. If you want to click on there, that will contain a link to join this meeting. Again, we will keep it open for another 15 minutes in case there's any late arrivals, and feel free to join and ask any questions you may have of staff. Thank you. This is Daryl Vanderveen, Junior Planner at the town. That concludes the information open house for the proposed zoning bylaw amendment for 3399 North Shore Drive. If anybody's watching this as a recording, the agent for the application did provide a pretty comprehensive presentation in the first 15 minutes of the meeting, and there was some discussion as well. So if you want to go back and watch that, that's great. If anybody has any follow-up questions or would like to discuss the application with staff or submit comments, feel free to contact me. My phone number is 905-871-1600, extension 2509. And as mentioned earlier, there will be a formal public meeting on this application held at the council and committee meeting for September 13th. So members of the public are invited to attend that meeting as well, speak in favor or against the application, or ask any questions they may have. Council will be participating in that meeting. Thank you.